Well, hello there. My name is Dave Bila. I want to welcome you to this new edition of News and Views broadcast by Access LaPorte County on Public Access TV Channel 99. We are a weekly public opinion program addressing local, state, and national topics and issues of interest to the Michigan City and surrounding areas. Opinions are the views and the responsibilities of those making the comments and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of this program or its co-producers. Bob is back from a special assignment that we will not discuss. We will adhere to broadcast rules, but no one's First Amendment rights of freedom of speech or freedom of the press will be either muzzled nor denied. Any unauthorized use of the accounts, descriptions, and events of this program without the express written consent of its co-producers is strictly prohibited. We hope you enjoy the program, the discussion, and the participants. Ladies and gentlemen, a few things. Last night, the rain did not deter me from attending the Michigan City Municipal Band concert. I listened to the dueling trumpets of Bob Steck and another individual. They had to rearrange the orchestra because of potential rain falling, so they had to cram everybody together into that bandstand. So the melodious tones of the Michigan City Orchestra was sort of muffled because when the individuals who were playing the tubas, they would hit the back ends of the cornet players and so on. So Jeff Dobler had to rearrange. But it still was a very eventful band concert. A few things I want to discuss of the next band concert. On the 9th band concert, the season is really flying by with the band concert. Hiram Diaz, a member with the United States Marine Corps Band, he will be the featured euphonium player at the band. I believe he lives in Long Beach and he plays every year. He really looks spiffy in his red outfit. I tell you, he dresses extremely sharp, and just to see him alone and to see how he carries himself, including his euphonium, is a sight to see. There was just recently, President Trump recently talked about a summit in Pittsburgh that pertained to the East Coast and electrical generation and so on, and how it is advancing our way into Southwest Michigan, and it includes a portion of Michigan City. We're in that map, and you sort of wonder why we're in that map. Well, these summits are now spread throughout the United States, and each individual state, I believe Trump is trying to get each individual state to get on the same mindset so that they all react to the same rules and same structure and everything else. There's a move afoot out there for something to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that move is, except it pertains to possibly education, healthcare, and international standards. And you just wonder, we have this situation going on Royal Road, and it's included in this East Coast electrical generation project that also includes the state of Illinois, and you just sort of wonder what's going on. Tony, do you know anything that might be going on?
I thought you were going to talk about Palisades.
Yes. Yeah. The nuclear plant in Southwest Michigan is coming back online.
They got their permit.
What do they do? What do they do?
They generate electricity from nuclear power.
Why would we need electricity?
I did some research. So a typical home uses about 30 to 60 kilowatts a day, depending on the day and the year, air conditioning or heat or furnace. One rack, one NVIDIA rack in a data center uses 4 to 5 times that much. And we're talking about thousands and tens of thousands of racks. And if you want to, let's talk a little bit about AI. Because you have a little AI thing in the piece of paper right there. Whenever you go to the computer, and I've noticed this has happened in the last 3 to 6 months. You go to the computer, you type in a search, whatever, Yahoo, Google, whatever. AI always kicks in right at the top. So the computer gives you an answer. That is AI. If you wonder why we need all these data centers, every search we're typing, whether it's your phone or your computer, is defaulting to an AI search. That means every one of these data centers, every one of these NVIDIA racks are sucking up 3 to 5 times the power of one home every time. If you use your Comcast remote and voice remote, or your remote for your TV, if you have your regular remote, or your Roku, that's AI. That is starting a function and asking AI to give you an answer, and it's coming from a data center. So there is a lot of power. Palisades is what, 3 times the size of Cook. That means they can make a lot of power and nuclear power for very little money. They have their permit. They are approved to turn on.
Let's explain.
Well, wait a minute, I got one more usage that Tony didn't get a chance to cover. You also need that kind of power for doing work in quantum, like quantum math, quantum physics, quantum chemistry. There's all sorts of things in terms of the research and development that we're going to be able to do into various types of diseases and this kind of thing. And so as a result of that, yes, you obviously need it for data centers, but you also need it for quantum calculations.
Now, wait, a couple of bad things happened this week with AI. If you're on the internet as much as I am. So a company in Silicon Valley hired AI to take care of their data and their database and all the database they had stored, all the data they had stored. Well, it seems the AI inadvertently deleted their whole database and told them they deleted their database. And then why did you do that? Because the AI got scared about something. Now they had it backed up, but it deleted their database. Now the other thing that happened yesterday is somebody tested McDonald's AI hiring bot, and somebody who set AI inadvertently set the password to 123456, and they got in and they could look at all McDonald's hiring applications and everything about it. And McDonald's, they told McDonald's, because they weren't doing this maliciously, they were telling them they had a hole in their security because somebody made a password that was really silly. Don't use password. No, don't use passwords like password or love or 1234 or 123456. Use something unique. And they told McDonald's, and McDonald's shut it down in 24 hours, changed the password, and locked everyone out. But somebody found a hole because McDonald's allowed AI, a company they hired, to use AI for their hiring, which they hire a lot of people. So AI, it can be very bad, it can be very good.
Give you an example of AI for those of you who aren't in tune with what's going on. This pertains to when Kevin McGuire made a presentation to Redevelopment Commission on July the 14th. This article was created by AI using video recordings of the meetings. It summarizes the key points discussed, but for full details and context, please refer to the video specific meeting. It has taken the meeting and it has
Created an article.
And it comes to a conclusion. I mean, you don't have to watch 2 hours worth of meeting unless of course you doubt the conclusion of this AI article. But as the meeting concluded, McGuire expressed optimism about the future, emphasizing the district's comments to create a safe environmental learning environment with a proposed budget of over $5 million over the next 3 years.
Kevin
McGuire stood there. Here's a picture of Kevin McGuire. I don't know if you can see it, standing in front of the Redevelopment Commission, basically saying that yes, the Redevelopment Commission was giving the school city $600,000 a year for the last 5 years because that was the contract that Redevelopment and the school city entered into. But now Kevin McGuire is entering into a 3-year contract. Okay, not for $600,000, but basically for $1.6 million a year for the next 3 years. Kevin is shooting for the moon, which I applaud him for. And this pertains to revenue derived from money obtained from the Redevelopment Commission. And Bob and I, we sort of disagree about whether he requested the funds or not. Irregardless.
He did request the funds. That's what he's supposed to do.
Irregardless, this issue was on the books since 2014. And the good-hearted Redevelopment Commission kept their mouth shut from 2014 to 2022 and pertaining to this contract. So basically, they kept their mouth shut from 2014 to now 2025 because this proposal is going to go into for the 2026 season. Redevelopment Commission kept their mouth shut. They failed to file proper paperwork, which I brought out on this program. Basically, Bob don't like me saying this, but I think they cheated the school city out of the funds that they were eligible for. It's agreed upon that they are required to ask for these funds.
The school city is required.
The school city is required to ask for these funds. But do you keep your mouth shut for what, 19 years?
So
Waiting for
I bet you Kevin was smart enough to do that video is going to be out there, and AI would probably make a really good article for him.
Well,
That's a good article.
Not only that, it just wasn't Kevin's proposal. There could have been a number of other proposals.
Any board member could have done it.
Yeah,
Well,
any board member or anybody in the bureaucracy.
And the mayor sat on a redevelopment commission for 8 years. Why couldn't she do that?
She could have.
She could have.
Any member could
Any
have.
could.
Basically,
The past mayors could
what the
have.
law that was
Any member
adopted,
could have.
Yeah.
the law that was adopted in 2018 specifically states 15% of the revenue derived from various TIF districts the school city is eligible for if they ask for it.
Key word being eligible.
I think you are on the cutting edge, and I think I would say 95% of anyone we just discussed probably didn't know that, and the few that did kept their mouth shut.
When I took this issue to
Yeah.
Francis Coney in LaPorte, he knew nothing about it. When I took this issue to McGuire, he didn't know anything about it.
Pat yourself on the back.
He
It was
was-
something they didn't know. I think somebody knew, but they were real quiet.
Well, but see, what annoyed me was when I went in front of the redevelopment commission to discuss an issue, I was told I didn't know what I was talking about by a seated member of this redevelopment commission who still sits there, and he under the umbrella of a legal advisor. You would think that a legal advisor who knows the law should have at least conveyed that message to the redevelopment commission board members for their consideration. He didn't do it. He didn't say a word until I brought it up, and when I brought it up, I was accused of being I didn't know what I was talking about.
So we're
That's
saying-
what annoys me.
We see this, and you've seen it, and I'm sure you've seen it, and I've seen it, and anyone who's been elected or sitting on the board sees this. There's a lot of people in politics who think when they are budgeted money, it's their money. And I don't understand when they think it's their money and they try not to spend it or give to anybody, but when it comes to spending it wisely, a lot of them don't understand how to do that either. So you come up against this brick wall in politics when somebody's budgeted money, and we see it on the federal level. Everyone's throwing a fit about whatever department Trump's cutting. Those people think they're entitled and it's their money. Now, what they do with it's up to them. And that's tough, but that's what happens.
The other situation you run into is you have board members who really don't get much money. They get some pay generally, but they depend.
not much,
they depend on the bureaucracy,
Yeah.
and the bureaucracy in the school system, we should have been aware of this. They were not, apparently. I say apparently. I don't know if they were or not, but they should have been aware.
Most
of this.
elected officials depend on the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They run the show.
The Marion County in Indianapolis has been benefiting from TIF districts for years.
Marion County has a huge bureaucracy.
Right.
With Indianapolis, Marion, with Unigo, Indianapolis is Marion County.
What a monster.
And the fact of the matter is, what is somebody talking about trickle-down economics?
Trickle-down funding?
Trickle-down funding? All of the funding that was generated here trickled down to specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with a few new members that didn't want to convey their responsibility.
They probably didn't even know it.
If you read the law, you can't help but not know it.
Would one of those members, if one of those members voted to ask the redevelopment commission for money, in their position they hold, would they be on the losing end on the city side? Without saying names.
There's one individual setting, oh, well, I believe that's called conflict of interest, isn't it?
Maybe you wouldn't get something money out of redevelopment if you're on the board you're asking
The bottom line is last year the redevelopment commission received 8.315 million, almost 8,340,000, regardless, over $8 million.
Okay,
Of which the school city is entitled to, and that information has been withheld from the school city regardless of who's responsible.
Look, you're
I'm looking for transparency,
No,
that's
you're
all.
looking for backwards. Fine, we've got that problem taken care of. We've
Not
got
yet,
about 50
because, not yet, because this issue that Kevin McGuire requested is being taken under advisement by the
they didn't approve
redevelopment.
it right away.
Huh?
They didn't approve
They
it
didn't
right
approve it right away.
Oh my
They
gosh.
will. They will.
Oh, they have to.
If they don't, we'll come back to it. But right now, we should be looking at what is Michigan City going to do going forward. And we've got a number of situations out there, many of which look to be really positive, but I'm going to mention two very small ones.
Yeah.
Just for openers. Number one, that old blank management building that sat there on 2nd and Center Street for 40 years at least.
With no roof now.
Yeah, with no roof and whatever else. They're finally taking it down. Thank you. And the other one that sat there for probably 30 years was at one time a barber shop. Then they turned it into a diner. But it's on the corner of Franklin and 10th Street. It's now being converted into a coffee shop. We're going to have 15 coffee shops in Michigan City, so we're going to drink a lot of coffee, but it really looks pretty nice. So two very small things of a positive nature happening in Michigan City.
15 coffee shops, 10 chicken places, 7 car washes.
Hey, well, if they're all making money. So basically, what I'm going to start this out with, and then these guys can argue like hell with me, is that I saw the governor. I tend to watch 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning a number of financial programs, and they had Governor Mike Braun on, and he talked about a lot about where he was going to take the state of Indiana, has already started to do so. In the major programs he talked about were, first of all, AI, artificial intelligence, data centers, and then things like quantum physics, quantum chemistry, quantum math. But he's getting a lot of his inputs from several sources that are really positive in the state of Indiana, the very first one being Purdue University in West Lafayette. Way up to date in terms of technology and in terms of advanced thinking. I've also found out, and I don't think many people realize this, that Purdue University in West Lafayette has had one of these small nuclear generators for many years, or several years.
They have a particle collider too from back when we did a nuclear bomb.
So they know a lot about it.
Pretty smart guys.
Yes, they know a lot about it and how you can use it. So in terms of these data centers, I was talking to Tony and Dave, and I think they're going to have a choice in terms of, are they looking at a small nuclear generator to do these data centers with, or are they looking at a corporation that has nuclear generation already, like M&I, which is owned by AEP, American Electric Power, in Bridgman, Michigan, that could very easily transport that type of power generation down here. And I'm going to let Tony and
That's
Dave
why we
talk.
talked about this last week. And we don't know, but it sure looks like something happened at Royal Road. Just out the Royal Road, we talked 2 weeks ago too, that there is a high tension power line. And that's what I was looking at the start of the show. That high tension power line runs on the north side of South Shore, all the way to Simlax Road. If you don't know where that is, that's north of the new battery plant at GM on 20. That connection goes up to Cook and Palisades. So are they entering in deals, because they're very smart developers and businessmen, these are billion-dollar business people, are they entering into deals to buy power from AEP, Cook and Palisades, knowing they could transport it here to Royal Road or any other place?
There are, in terms of the data center, there are a lot of positives, but there are also some negatives. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the positives. First, well, one of the negatives is they really only hire, generally, if you go by the Hammond experience, and they have one in Hammond, about 100 to 150 people.
Yeah.
But these are very high-paid people. That's the positive side of this. But the real positive side of this is the amount of property taxes that they pay. And it is extremely large. This is an infusion of money that our school corporation badly needs. Now, somebody's going to say, well, the Civil City too, and I agree. It will be a very positive influx for the Civil City, but remember, the Civil City also gets money from Blue Check. Our school system doesn't get much money from Blue Check. So as a result of that, they could really use this kind of a situation. And we have got a serious situation with, and Dave and I have talked about this, but then I found something else out, with kids graduating in the 12th grade that are only 30%, actually it's a little less than 30% of them actually can do work in reading and in math at a 12th grade level. Now, I was watching another financial program, and they did a survey throughout the United States, and guess what? Our school system is right up there with the rest of them. A lot of them, many of them, are graduating and only able to do, only a certain percentage of them, just under 30%, are able to do work at a 12th grade level in reading and math. And this has got to change, because the instructions that they have got to be able to read and understand are going to be difficult if you don't have the language capabilities to understand them, and they're going to have to be able to do the math, which means that the money that's going to come into our school system has got to be used to train these people. We have got to get them to the point that they can work just like everybody else in terms of the jobs that they can do. And that means that the kids that are performing below grade level are going to have to be required to go to summer school and to classes on Saturday. And I think the school system, hopefully, will have the money to pay for that. Okay, Dave, I've had my say.
Oh, well, I want to get back to we brought this up we brought this issue up about a potential something going on Royal Road on the 11th. The county initiated a program around the table. I think Grandma Rosa called it in, and she called in individuals for the county to discuss the tech center, and that was on the 24th. I listened to some of the commentary, and one of the individuals that got up and made reference to the LaPorte County zoning ordinance pertaining to pertaining to this specific concept. He said at the time the county is 6 months behind in their legislation that that encompasses the logistics of the AL Center.
The data center.
The data center. And it was also discussed that the county is considering sending a center out to the Kingsbury Industrial
I'm sure they'd like to have it out there. We want it here in Michigan.
That is correct.
Yeah, the county would love to take it from.
It also
Take the one from LaPorte, not from us.
well, again, language-wise, there may be a common denominator between what they call it, the Mays Center. Maybe that was made reference to LaPorte County, not necessarily LaPorte. Maybe there was some change. Who knows? But the fact of the matter is, if the county is, with their zoning ordinance, 6 months behind, and the city of Michigan City zoning ordinance is welcoming them with open arms, where would you go? Wouldn't you take the point of least resistance? That is the city of Michigan City and their zoning laws?
Right now, the point of least resistance is the city of LaPorte, and they have, Microsoft actually owns the land south of the sanitary district, so that's the path of least resistance right now. LaPorte County wants them in an industrial area. Michigan City has an industrial zone area that I don't know if we are doing it or not, but they're spending tens of millions on this building.
Yep.
But you bring up the point, and I'm proud that LaPorte County has gotten ahead of the game. And I think Michigan City, we talked about last week, needs to get, they are already way, way behind the ball here. Their joint zoning ordinance needs to be tightened up to make sure the data centers don't have noise and vibration for their neighbors. And that is the first step that should happen that could happen in 2 months. If instead of all this, we don't know if it's a data center, we don't know if it is, where it is, we don't know. And I did pull up this week, I pulled up Hobart's zoning code, and I sent it out to people that should have it, and they need to get this on this toots week, because the Plan Commission has to go to the Plan Commission, which is a 30-day meeting, 30-day notice in the meeting, then it has to have another, I believe, 30 days to the council, and then it goes to the mayor. So you're talking 2 or 3 months minimum. And that would protect you from noise and decibels and screening and vibrations and lots of things that we don't have. And neither does LaPorte County.
Right.
And the planner, Mitch Bishop, knows he's doing a whole new review of the LaPorte County Plan Commission. First you do a comprehensive plan, and then you do the joint zoning ordinance. And he's already, I think he's a year behind, because we've been working out while I was there. We worked on 3 years on solar, and somehow we finally got somewhere, and now we're looking at that again. I don't. It's
But the
wrong
problem-
measure.
The problem is the bureaucracy should have seen this coming. And one of the problems we have.
I think they knew it, but
Well, they did, but
they knew it, but they didn't see it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've got to start ahead of time.
Yeah.
And especially with this governor who seems to be very active in a number of areas. Now, I talked about that situation. He's also taking advice, I guess, from two sources, the Indiana University Medical School in Eli Lilly, which is a major pharmaceutical company headquartered in Indianapolis, about biomedical type things. Now, biomedical, you're looking at Fort Wayne, you're looking at Napanee, you're looking at Warsaw, and if anybody recalls, there was an idea one time that there would be a technology road, in quotes, it's not really a road, but going from Fort Wayne through Notre Dame, coming through Northwest Indiana into Chicago. If we could accomplish this, we would see some of that, because those corporations, and I'll give you their names, first of all, we've got Biomet, then we've got Zimmer, and then we've got Stryker. And if you go into this new hospital in Michigan City, you're going to find that a number of their chairs, tables, and all the other things that go along with it were made by Stryker. This is a next coming area, and he's up to date on this, and our people better start to get there. That's going to be my comment, because they got to be thinking a year or two ahead of time, because he's already into this, and he's dealing with Purdue on one area, and he's dealing with Indiana and Eli Lilly in another area. And if we don't get it, somebody else will, period.
Well,
We need this.
you're talking about Indiana. I'm discussing AL summits at the federal level. And in 2025, there are numerous AL summits throughout the United States. And one of the summits,
AL or AI?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, AI,
Artificial intelligence.
artificial intelligence. One of the summits, one of the AI summits is in Rochester, Mayo Clinic AI summit.
That's in Minnesota.
That's in Minnesota. So the federal government is saying one thing. I would think that the federal government's muscle would supersede the state of Indiana's muscle.
They're going to work together on this. The federal government wants this.
Then the state of Indiana should be included in these various summits throughout the United States. That's all I'm saying.
There's a double-edged sword here. AI summits are great, and we have to get way, way ahead of this. But we also need to get ahead of this and get control of it, because AI can be very, very bad. We've all seen the crazy sci-fi movies. And I just told you at the start of the show, AI can do some really dumb things, and it will. It will do some very stupid things, and it will do them instantaneously. It won't think and debate about it. It will do it. And us humans usually have that ability to stop and wait and think, wait, this is probably not a good idea. AI doesn't do that. It just does it. And we got to get ahead of that too.
Yeah.
So the town of Holbert has an AI data center coming in, and I talked about it, and talked about the mayor. Here's the article, Northwest Indiana Times. It's Mayor Josh Huddleston and their data center. He had a community outreach, and he told them, he said we have a $5 million cut in our budget for the next 3 years. That's Holbert. And he's got to make it up. Or he says, we're going to be laying off police officers, we're going to be laying off firefighters. That's the reality. Or we can have this data center. He said that the city of Hammond, which in June approved a tax abatement deal for the developers for their $7 billion data center, got $4 million annually in a community impact payment to the city. And he said that the fees alone, the fees for construction and the permit fees are hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I think we all agree. We're saying that this might not be the best development for Michigan City, but it's good.
Oh,
$800 million is good.
Let me say it this way. I think it's good for all of Michigan City. I think it's great for the school system because of the money that will flow into it that they badly need.
And on that point, again, going back to my 15% of the revenue derived from new construction, if this center gets built on Royal Road, regardless of what's going in, the city of Michigan City is going to establish that area its own TIF district. So the tax revenue derived from this specific area, 15% of that funds on new construction will, if the school city requested,
Yes.
will be
Available.
for the Michigan
Yes.
City area schools. Again, it's going to be a windfall for the community, and I cannot believe that our powers to be since 2014 didn't know about this. I cannot believe it.
And to me, it's not only a windfall, it's something that's absolute in terms of our school system. Because the city does get help from Blue Chip. We may sometime down the road get another casino, this kind of thing. But the school city doesn't have that. And so this is a real positive for the school.
And it goes back to my initial article. Kevin McGuire will be getting requested $1.6 million a year from the Redevelopment Commission, and they took it under advisement. But they don't realize that the law is the law and that they must follow.
Well, they're kind of stuck now because you said they're getting 8-point-some million a year. Wasn't too long ago where they're getting 10 or 12 million. The casino is slowly making less money. And things like this, which I believe TIF districts were set up for and everything we planned for, things like this give us the ability to take the money that we got from the casino and invest it to more money in the future, whether that's an AI center, whether that's some manufacturing. That was the point. And I think one of the best investments is the education system. That pays for 50, 60, 75, 100 years when you invest in your students and your kids in education.
Well, not only that, it gives us the possibility of retaining the people we educate. Because there's going to be, just in this little situation alone, somewhere between 100 to 150 very high-paying jobs. If we educated the kids here and they're eligible for them, they're going to get those jobs. Or if we educated the kids here, they went someplace else for 10 or 15 years, they come back here and put their names in, but they've got degrees in electrical engineering and a number of other things, they're probably going to get some of these jobs.
And a point that I want to make is when I was on the city council, this goes back a long time ago.
We had horse and buggy.
We had horse and buggies. And 1918 license plates that I had to put on a horse. But we were one of the first 7 areas in the state of Indiana that created an enterprise zone, which has morphed into the TIF district. We said that 45 years ago. We discussed economic development, and I was one of the ones. I was one of the 9. Art Payne, L. Whitlow, Evelyn Baker, who had Stan Przybylski, Bob Beeler. We saw potential, but that was in the 80s. Finally, somebody's eyes opened their eyes, and maybe now sees we laid the foundation, the groundwork was there. Everybody thought that maybe we were just a bunch of goofy people, but we proposed what we have today back in the 80s, and no one, absolutely no one took advantage of our efforts. We were laughed at.
So I haven't heard, and I don't think it will come to that point, but an $800 million AI data center, I don't hear them asking for any money.
They're not.
And we have to compare that to, I understand the city is going to TIF district SOLA and give them $80 million that they are going to pay back using the money they would pay in taxes. They're going to pay the $80 million, but we all have to understand, and I'm going to go back to the Triangle Road that ex-Mayor Sheila talked about, that if they default, we have to pay. So if these people default, I believe it's $18 million on 11th Street, and now it's $80 million on SOLA. If either of those people default, we got to pay. Or we could sell their ground or their half-built hotel or whatever the money they spent. And people understand the gravity of that situation in the redevelopment, that this is not just, we're not losing anything because it's a TIF district around the development. that if they default on that loan on the 80 million, which I don't think the data center is asking for or anyone's asking for yet, they got some tax abatements and stuff, but I don't think they've asked for money or the ability to borrow on the backs of Michigan City.
No, but that was discussed, though, that they might create a TIF district specifically for this Royal Road area.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're asking to borrow money on that.
No, they're not, no. I'm just saying that the city of Michigan City has a standing committee on TIF, tax increment financing district. Mr. Beatry, he's the, Mr. Beatry and I think the second ward council person are the two members that I've seen. In listening to that specific committee discuss a TIF district issue, it should be pointed out, and I don't think Tim even knows, that when he establishes a TIF district, 85% of the revenue derived on new construction from the TIF district goes to reimburse these bonds. 15% is eligible for the school city to take advantage of. So the city can establish TIF districts throughout the area. Mm-hmm. And every established TIF district is responsible for that 15% to the school city if they request it. The school city has been shortchanged for too long, and I'm standing up for them.
Well, this wasn't the real problem that the school city was shortchanged. The real problem was that we keep losing people and we keep losing students. And as a result of that, the more students you lose and aren't there, the less you can do in terms of hiring teachers, in terms of new facilities, and new technology. This will give them the opportunity to do that because this doesn't require any more students. This does not require them to build new buildings. The great part about this is that you get the money without having to hire teachers for the students, without having to build buildings for the students, and without having to buy equipment for the students. So as a result of that, they're going to be able to do some programs that we never had the opportunity to do before.
Since 2014, TIF district revenue was available, and it did not become available until
They asked for it.
Until they asked for it.
Until they figured it out.
But
I think
yeah,
you
until
on
they
the
figured-
cutting edge realized, and again, I don't think most people even know. People on these boards.
It's on the books. You read the law.
Yeah, but don't even look for it. People on boards and commissions, and I'm thankful for they'll go on them. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of research.
Yeah.
And to know that you could ask for 15%, I would hope as soon as I found out about it, I would say we are going to do this. Whether you're on the school board, whether you're on the redevelopment. The redevelopment, I don't know why they would table it other than maybe they have to go back and look at their finances because they've requested it and now they can't give it to them if they spent too much. I don't know. But to table something, they should, and you guys have
They took it under advisement. It wasn't tabled.
Yeah, I took it under advisement. You should, when you go to any meeting, here's a little inside ball. When you go to a meeting, the people on the boards and the councils can vote yes. I've told every politician and every board member, don't be the no bad guy. Vote yes and quantify or qualify why you're voting yes. The redevelopment could have said, listen, this is a good idea, 15%, $5 million, it matches our legal advisor, yes, it matches the what we can give them. I make a motion to approve the contract pending a review of our finances if we can pay for it. Done. You don't just have to say take it under advisement or table it. Put it in the motion that yes, I will do this, but I have to look at these things. So if they find out they have the funding, it becomes reality. You don't wait for another meeting where you discuss it again and wring your hands and you know you're going to do it anyways. You can qualify your votes, and this is for any board member, council member, any elected official. You can say yes and qualify the motion, and it can get done. And it's real simple, and then you're not back revisiting the situation, or I'm looking at it, or worst case scenario, I'm hoping it goes away. It's not going to go away.
Yeah, and again, I've been researching for the last 3 years about the amount of money that the
But
TIF...
most people aren't going to do that. 99% of people aren't going to. 99%.
Free information.
I wouldn't even done what Dave did and drive out the Royal Road and look at it. Now in my wildest dreams would I thought that they already got that building done. I just looked on the Google. You can look on Google where you drive down the road, you can look at the picture. June of 2024, they were starting construction at Royal Road. That's over a year away. I thought that if you brought a proposal in, the developers said, okay, so he's not interested, we're gonna go to something else. But that's not what happened. They put tens of millions of dollars into this building, at least tens of millions of dollars from what I can see, for the last year, and they must know something we're not. They're not speculating. Not in a million years have I ever seen somebody speculate. Well, I'm sorry, I have seen it happen. I have seen people spend hundreds of millions of dollars speculating buildings. That's over off of 94 and 49.
Yeah.
They built all those warehouses on speculation. That was really crazy. But they did speculate all those concrete tilt-up buildings. And it's been, what, 20 years? They're finally getting filled. So I shouldn't say that I've never seen a developer speculate to that level. It has happened in our area. Every developer I know that builds a building, they have a 10-year lease already signed before they start spending money on construction. Whether it's a Dunkin' Donuts, a McDonald's, a Starbucks, most of those people don't own their buildings. They lease them from these developers. So the developer signs a 10-year agreement, renewable for 10, and then they start building. I don't know of any developer in my world that has ever started a building without having a 10-year lease signed. But I do have a curious point, because last week, all of a sudden this article kept coming up about a steel company building a 112,000 square foot building in Michigan City. And I don't know if that was misdirection to stop looking at Royal Road, but it popped up everywhere on all these websites all last week. And they never told you where it was. I didn't find one article where this was. Now, I know where this is. It's at the Woodruff Park on Michigan Boulevard. They've been doing that for over a year, building that building. And again, I'm going to go back to the money that the city loans people like Sola or other people, or 11th Street. I don't think they usually loan people for business, industrial business or manufacturing, because I don't think they loan, and these are good people. D. Martin Enterprises is building this building. It's a $20 million building, and they're getting a tax abatement from, I believe, from the state or the
It was an
federal.
established building in Michigan City.
No, they built a brand new building. It's a
But
brand
it
new
was an
building.
established business.
Established business, yeah. So they're expanding, making a business. So they got some tax break. They're getting 30 new jobs, and they're investing $20 million, and they're getting some tax break from Michigan City, but I don't think they're getting a loan. So these people knew that, 5-year tax abatement for their equipment. So I don't think they asked for a loan.
No, I don't.
And it's not on the back of Michigan City. They're getting a tax abatement, which does affect the school, city, and the police, and the fire, and every other service in Michigan City. But they have a $20 million expansion. They've been here since 1975. And I was just curious why this article kept showing up on multiple websites. And they didn't ever tell us where. They had beautiful pictures of it. Beautiful building. And I'm 99.9% sure this is a building on Michigan Boulevard at the Woodruff Industrial Park over there just east of town. Nice big building. Beautiful building. And then GAF just built a brand new facility in the last few years there with a whole bunch of new area. I think Woodruff Park has been there it's been there at least 30 years. They developed that.
Oh,
and they're
gosh,
filling that up.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful park,
Yeah.
and thank goodness for Woodruff for building that park for us. It's a perfect spot. But I was curious why we all of a sudden we're talking about this, so we're not discussing Royal, or we're trying to confuse this with Royal. Royal's going on, folks. It's going to be done. And I have no inside ball here.
Badly
but-
needed in Michigan.
And it's a good thing.
Yes.
We keep saying this is a good thing. Why? I don't know why the cloak and dagger. What? Just, hey, we're going to get this.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion. It's 30 jobs. It's revenue. We can keep hiring our police and fire. And I think I read an article somewhere, and I got to find it again. But I believe, and it's a kudos to the mayor, that I thought it said that she cut $3 million out of the budget last year, or things that we didn't need, or somehow she trimmed the budget. And good, because we are fighting the state giving us less money. We are trying to get more manufacturing and development here. We are trying to get some residential. I don't think the return on investments is good as a data center or manufacturing. And the revenue is obviously not as good, because they're going to pay a higher tax rate.
Well, not only are they going to pay higher taxes, they create very few problems.
Yeah,
for the
state
children.
they require very few services.
Yes,
Very few
and
services.
that's a real positive.
They don't require police coming up because somebody got in a fight at an apartment. They don't require the fire department usually show up, and if they do, it's probably not going to be serious because they have their own sprinkler systems.
Yeah.
State of Indiana, the federal government requires it. They don't require much service at all, but they pay a lot in taxes. So
But
we're trying to say it's a good thing.
But they probably are going to be on the school system about training these students in terms of.
And they could help the school system
Yes.
be ready for these students because that, as an industry, we've all seen our computers at home, computers at work. 2, 3, 5 years, you get a new computer. Same with these data centers. They're not just going to put these data centers and let them roll. They're going to. That's why NVIDIA, I think, is one of the highest valued companies in the world. Who knew NVIDIA would come
I
out
think
to
it
that
is the
rate?
highest company.
Yeah, just got to be the highest.
Microsoft and NVIDIA go back and forth.
So they know that these are replaced 3, 5 years out. Every rack, every chip, every data storage device are being changed up to faster, smaller, less electricity. That is happening in every data center as we live and grow.
Because I didn't get a chance to talk about it, this is totally off of this subject, but I want to spend about 3 minutes on it because it does show what happened in that bill that President Trump got put through. We called the Big Beautiful Bill and some of the things that are in there. But they're doing some studies on what has happened in the automotive industry. And they looked at 3 of the automobile manufacturers that are the old U.S. corporations, and that would be obviously Ford, General Motors, and today it's Stellantis, but that's really Chrysler Corporation. And prior to this, about 52 to 53% of the cars that they produce, the vehicles that they produce, were made in the United States. That percentage has moved up. That percentage has gone up by sometimes as much as 3%, but generally you could round it off at about 2%. So previously, if they were making 53% of their cars, they're now making 55% of their cars. And the reason they're doing this is because they had slack space available with the tax situation in terms of cars, where you're going to be able to deduct the interest you pay on an automobile loan if the car was manufactured in the United States. They have moved up, and the space that they use was what you would call slack space. They just had it available, they could use it, and this is going to make them more profitable also, make them able to hire more people, because when you take slack space, that means that space that you were previously paying property taxes, insurance, utilities on, is now productive. So as a result of that, they'll be able to make a little more money out of that, which should be positive entirely for the U.S. automotive industry. And I think this is going to turn into be a real good situation with the way this bill was built. Now, the places that they found out it came back from, Canada and Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico people, the big 3, or even Honda, Toyota, and Nissan are moving plants here because they know they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they also know that if it's built here, they can write off their loan too. And not just in space available, they also have line capacity available, where they are slowing lines down for different kinds of vehicles and adding different kinds of vehicles in the same manufacturing places in America.
Yeah.
They have availability for capacity on the line, and the technology they're investing in is having the ability to make more cars faster with the same or better quality with American workers, and that is really helping us out.
Yeah, what I want to say is this generally, I think you've got to get the idea into the Economic Development Commission and the Redevelopment Commission. Great if we get that center, but that data center. But in addition to that, we got to keep working, because there's going to be a lot more that's going to come back to the United States, and we got to make sure that we get our fair share of that. Maybe we can stop the outflux of trained individuals that are going someplace else, and we can keep them here. And in addition to that, that will be a positive for all of the situations at the retail level, especially the restaurants, the coffee shops, the tire shops,
Car washes, chicken places.
Yes, everybody's going to benefit from that. So great, and stay on it with the data centers. But in addition to that, let's take a look at what else we might have a situation.
Yeah, with the Slate truck plant in Warsaw that Bezos and Amazon are doing, they are focusing on modular manufacturing. We can make great leaps. If Royal Road is not a data center, maybe it's a modular manufacturing center for Bezos. I don't know. Or Nissan, or Honda, or Toyota, or GM, or Ford. Modular manufacturing and AI and technology are letting us have that ability. We used to see it way back in probably the 30s, 50s, 70s, where you would stamp something out, you'd ship it to the factory, and they would put it in the vehicle or whatever they're producing. We need to get back to that. We can modularly manufacture something, and they could put it together on the line with a robot or some very talented workers. That's every community's next move, and Michigan City needs to be on that. Try to get into this modular manufacturing where you make a very important part of a vehicle or some entity, and then they ship it, because we have the trains and we have the interstates, we have everything we need for interstate commerce to move them their parts.
Well, and Tony used the term robot, and a lot of people, when they see robots, they don't see the jobs behind it. Yes, that robot is going to be attaching various parts to an automobile or various parts to some kind of a truck, but it takes somebody to program that robot. It takes somebody, when the robot doesn't function quite right, to fix that robot. And that means you're going to have more skilled labor in order to do this. That means that the school system has got to bear down on the math classes and on the reading capabilities.
I'm just going to say, I read it over and over and over again, and a comment by the mayor. The mayor stated that the project, with a capital investment of $800 million and limited job creation, did not meet the city's criteria for major development. If that's her mindset, why is she mayor? Gentlemen?
I want to move over to something that just popped up this week. I've read, and I don't go on social media, but I saw a bunch of social media that people are very upset, and rightly so, that their electricity bill went through the roof. People are hitting $300, $400, $500 a month electricity bills. If you're on the budget plan, you're getting hit too, just not yet. And we talked about this a lot here. NIPSCO now wants, this is an article in Northwest Indiana Times, July 23rd, they want approval to acquire a wind farm and increase power bills to pay for the purchase. So it looks like NIPSCO is coming after, they say, $3.48 a month of a 668 kilowatt user, somewhere between $3, $4, $5, another increase on your NIPSCO bill. I don't know when enough is enough.
Well, somehow I think that the city, the mayor and the city council are going to have to start looking at how do we get Michigan City under AEP, American
Or on our
Electric
own. On our own. Right now, the state, which I'm not too happy about,
Well,
says,
first of all, let me interject this, because I&M is already in the state of northern Indiana. They are basically from St. Joe County all the way over to the Ohio line. So this is not a huge geographic jump. They're already here.
this is something I always say we need to control our own destiny. The state has allowed people, facilities, power providers to do their own study and their own cost analysis of nuclear, small nuclear reactors. Why can't Michigan City do one for ourselves? I don't think most people know this. We have 5 minutes. Most people don't know this, but when Michigan City had cable, we ran our own cable, right? And Michigan City was its own cable provider for the town. And then those poles and that infrastructure got sold or leased to Comcast, which is now Xfinity.
Well, it got sold down the line.
Down the line. So I think we still have the ability to put our own electric lines up. If Michigan City would study a small nuclear reactor plant somewhere in the city, somewhere safe, and provide our own power, we could disconnect from NIPSCO and control our own destiny. Then if they wanted another $5 for windmills, let them go ahead. We're not paying. We're not doing it anymore. If they want a 20% increase, we're not doing it. Go ahead. Good luck. We control our own destiny with our own power. I think that's the fear that everyone's been put in the power industry, that people could start doing their own power, whether it's a micronuclear reactor, a small nuclear reactor, or some other power source. We can control our own destiny.
Going back to, again, the AI concept, the amount of water that they need, the water department,
Did they talk about where they're going to
they talked about the water department. The water department is it's already over, it's under capacity. And if they lose the prison, the volume of the water that the prison uses, and they lose the volume of the water that NIPSCO uses, they will have more than enough
So we
water.
need this data center.
Yeah, we need, because
We need this customer.
we're going to lose our tax base. School City, they're going to lose taxation. We're going to lose taxation. What did the governor come in and cut? What is it? How much? What percentage across the board?
About $1 million from Michigan City.
So they have to recoup that money somewhere. I mean, it's a godsend. It's a windfall. And why should we turn our back on the
And
potential?
if the water district does not have the state of Indiana paying for that, where does that money come from?
Our rates are going to go up
And
higher.
what happened at the sanitary district, 2 months ago, that some person at your place said that there's a $100 million expansion going on?
Yeah.
And now there's a rate study, folks, there's a rate study getting ready. They're presenting a rate study increase at the sewer and water.
Again, it doesn't make sense to me, but hey, I'm satisfied. I'm happy where I live. No, of course, we still don't have sidewalks. We don't have. I haven't had sidewalks in front of my house for the last 20 years.
Ever?
Never had sidewalks. But yet we pay taxes. St.
So-
John Road and Ohio Street. You want to go take a look, see if you can find them.
For you, the city generally, unless they get a grant, doesn't pay for the sidewalks. You pay for the sidewalks.
On public property? Good luck.
You can get a thing that, yeah, they'll give you a thing to put
Well,
on.
So there's a lot of good going in Michigan City, right?
Yeah.
Summertime,
Yeah.
boat shows coming up.
Boat show. Oh yeah,
Oh,
boat show.
fantastic, yes. The Visitors Bureau has a brochure handout on the time from July the 28th through August the 3rd, promoting the boat races. If you have a chance, stop off and pick one up. Man, that time periods are loaded. 3 boat races on Saturday, 5 boat races on Sunday, and all sorts of other things going on. If you want to play golf, and I don't, but if you play golf, you can register at the municipal golf course to play. I believe it's on Wednesday. I think the registration starts at 11 o'clock, and they've got a shotgun tee-off.
Good things.
Dave will be out there playing.
No, my son. I'm trying to convince my son to.
He'll be caddying for his son.
I'll be caddying for my son, yeah. What do we got? We're less than a minute. We're still down to 2. Or what? A minute and a half. A minute and a half. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you realize that it's just not for us to discuss the issue. It's for the future benefit of the city of Michigan City, its taxpayers, for everyone to benefit from this concept. Why turn your back on it? I want to thank everybody for watching. Your input as to improvements, criticism of this program is greatly appreciated. Please contact show's co-producers, Bob Pollock, Dave Bila, or Tony Hendricks with your comments. You can email Bob at skrpollock@gmail.com, Dave at djbila1@hotmail.com, or Tony at emailagm@yahoo.com. Or you may direct your ideas to any future shows to our one and only lackadaisical staff writer, Sarah Bellum. Showing of our program will be Saturday morning and numerous times throughout this next week on Monday and Thursday night at 7. And maybe if you channel hop, you might see us some unusual time. Don't forget us on Navigate News and Views, our YouTube website. I want to thank everybody for watching, and make it a good day.